Prusa just released what might be the final update to the XL before they start shipping. I'm excited, hope you are too. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here and you love learning about 3D printers, make sure to leave a like and get subscribed. We're going to be going over the latest update from Prusa regarding the Prusa XL. This is a long-awaited printer, I believe over 2 years now. Some of us have been waiting for this with our pre-orders, and yeah, it's getting a little long, but you know what? For me, it's okay. It's got features on it that no other machine on the market really has, and that's why I'm excited for it. So let's get into some of these things that we're talking about in this latest update. The big thing, it's in the first line past the updates. The first production units of the original Prusa XL are ready to leave the company. Yeah, it's finally happening. Yes, insert it's happening.gif here. We finally have XLs in their final form, or is it really their final form, being shipped out to users. As Prusa stated, it was going to happen in March. Here we are, March. It's happening. I'm very excited. If you did pre-order a single tool head on day one, chances are you're going to be getting an email relatively soon. If you got a multi-tool, from the article, we can see that the first multi-tool is slated for May. We're going to get Victoria on a plane right now. Are you going to go to Prague? Are you going to go to Prague and help me get an XL faster? Huh? Are you going to go convince Joe that we need a faster XL? We've also finally seen updates from beta testers who have been coming out publicly about it all over Twitter. Let's take a look. Everybody from Mr. Chris Russell himself, Practical Printing, to Joe Spanier, good guy. Maybe future podcast guest. Actually, everybody on this list should be a future podcast. Mike from Never Let the Machines Win, an awesome fan of the channel. Always like seeing him in the comments because he reminds you to leave a like and get subscribed. Chris Riley, of course, from Chris's Basement, and probably one of the coolest photos to give you an idea of the size of the XL. We've got the XL, the Mark III, and the Mini all together, and it feels so good. But we can see some differences in these beta units versus the actual photos that we see here. Some of it is, of course, just, looks, right? A lot of them don't have these orange bars, and certainly the logo in the back is not there currently, but obviously there have been a lot of changes made during the beta. That's what a beta is for. Don't make customers pay for beta units. Trust people that know how to beta test to do this properly so that when you release a product, hopefully there aren't issues. But it's good to see that the first multi-tools are going to be leaving relatively soon, and they've been running beta since last September, so the better part of 6 to 7 months now, and they're still making it happen. To be clear, beta testing is not something that should be done relatively quickly. If a beta for a hardware product like this takes any less than a couple of months, I'm worried that there were things that were missed. It's been good to see that changes have been requested and then implemented from Prusa themselves, and I'm very excited to see what that looks like. And they're gonna make it up to us, or they're gonna try. All pre-orders, not just day one, initially the article had said day one, they're gonna receive 2 extra gifts. A spare print sheet, which is great because I cannot imagine those being very cheap, as well as a Nextruder to V6 nozzle adapter. And that's great for those of us that have invested into the V6 ecosystem that we all know and utilize all the time. That's good. I plan on making sure to have quite a few of those nozzle adapters as spares, as well as one in every one of the tool heads, because I'd rather use equipment that we currently have rather than investing into a new ecosystem, especially when, from what we can tell, there isn't much of a difference between just adapting to a V6 and using the Prusa proprietary nozzle. We'll be curious to see what that looks like in terms of printing performance, but we're not going to know that until we can get our hands on one. So here's hoping we're in those first few of, unfortunately, the multi-tool toolhead orders. And a lot of things have apparently changed since December. We've got replacing the plastic handles with metal ones for increased robustness, adjusting the shroud of the print fan, upgraded plastic parts of the Nextruder, adjusting the filament sensor to prevent jams, replacing X-axis profiles with stiffer ones, and adjusted the size of the XY side panels to make more room for RGB LED strips. Nice. As well as redesigning the mounting parts for the tool changer to make future upgrades easier, and improving several plastic parts in the X and Y axes. And those are just ones that they're talking about right there. And we can see this thing looks way more refined than when we last saw it at the East Coast Rep Rap Festival. This thing legitimately is starting to look like a professional printer rather than really a MK3 that is also a Hydra, but you gave the fancy blue pill to. I'm excited to see this really finding its branding coming together in a meaningful way, and really loving this interface. And yeah, this does look a lot like the Prusa Mini interface. Those of you that were wondering if we would see it again, of course we're gonna see it again. And we can see a setting menu being completely redesigned to enable better UI and UX. At the end of the day, while this printer is not exactly designed for first timers and, people immediately getting into the industry, it is nice to have those quality of life features that make it easier to use, so that if you do decide to maybe bring in a new staff member to run the printer on your behalf, you would be able to train them relatively quickly. I like that kind of thing. They are claiming that there are a lot of changes under the hood, but a separate dev diary will be coming out about that relatively soon, and of course we're going to be showing it off here on the channel. One of the big things that I was worried about when it comes to usability, something that Prusa is absolutely addressing, I love this, is the heating and fully automatic first layer calibration. These print beds are massive. To give you an idea, 360 square print bed with as many little heaters as they're using is going to draw quite a bit of power. You have to make sure that you heat them up in the right order. Otherwise, you get expansion issues causing build plates to warp around. And while that might not be that big of a deal for a small part, when you're looking at doing something like a small ABS part or maybe a larger nylon part that doesn't go throughout the entire bed, that little bit of warping can really adjust dimensional accuracy. So they're utilizing a system to mildly heat up the other plates around the area that you're printing to slowly taper off the heat rather than going from hot to cold. And as odd as that is, that's kind of a nice feature that I never thought I would need, but absolutely love that it will be implemented. Again, this is not a cheap printer, and when you compare it to kind of the thing that everybody else is comparing it to, the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon, Prusa does have a lot to do to really make a bit of a difference. And a lot of Bambu owners are saying it's too little too late. And to that, I would say, hit me up. Assuming it's okay to buy pre-orders, your boy would be interested, because I do believe there is value to a tool changer that something like a mixing system doesn't have. Colors, I don't know, but multi-material, oh my gosh, yes. Also, look at that print bed photo. That the photo's just gorgeous. Mikolas, I figure this is you. Love the photos. Really slick. They are going to be adding in input shaping. Was this initially going to be a plan from Prusa? I don't know. Was this something that happened right around when the Bambu came out? Yeah, it did. It might be because of the Bambu. And you know what? I'm glad. I'm glad that we've seen some industry change because of a company like that. No matter what you might feel about them, positive, negative, or otherwise, you can't deny that the change is coming. But interestingly, Prusa is opting to develop their own system of input shaping that is Klipper-like, as well as pressure advance, but not using Klipper itself. Why? I'm not exactly certain. And because they've gone to use their own STM32 bare metal, it would make sense, I guess, for them to develop their own firmware for it as well. But if that firmware is not being heavily updated or eventually gets deprecated for some reason, the community advancement on it might stagnate quite a bit versus it being something that is based directly off of a Marlin or Klipper or something like that that does have an immense amount of community support. With that being said, Prusa is not known for just up and abandoning projects at all. In fact, they continue to support old projects that very few people are still even utilizing. Like, you have a Mark II, they are still updating the firmware in the Mark II. And while a lot of us are running the 2.6 alpha variant right now, they did release a small update to Prusa Slicer 2.5 that does allow you to look at the new XL profiles in there. And yeah, you can just modify them and run them on a Mark III or a Mini to see what the speed really looks like. Because unfortunately, Prusa is not currently being public about that. On top of this, I love how Prusa hides these little snippets of stuff. They are utilizing brand new 2 kilogram spools of Prusament that they are just releasing as well. And because it can chew through an entire roll of filament, they are having those spool holders be able to hold the 2 kilo spools as well, now being offered in PETG and PLA in a few select colors at the moment. And they're adding accessories for the XL to their eShop, most notably additional print sheets and nozzles of various diameters from 0.25 to 0.8, along with the V6 nozzle adapter to allow you to install any V6 compatible nozzle onto the XL. Can you say diamonds are my best friend? Because you know they're going to be on the XL. And they're also expanding the offer of nozzles and new types soon, such as hardened variants for printing with abrasive materials. They're also going to be offering a combo of nozzle along with a heater block, so you can literally swap nozzles in seconds. It will be curious to see if it is a one-handed nozzle swap or if it will require 2 hands to do it, whether it can be a cold system like the E3D Revo, or if it's going to be more of a hot system like a lot of us are used to. They're finally coming clean with how many pre-orders they actually got. In the first few minutes of launching the pre-order, we received thousands of orders. With our current production capacity, it will take us several months to clear the backlog. We expect to ship less than 1,000 units by May. So to give you an idea, if you didn't order day one, you're looking at June, July, or August. So those of you that ordered closer to the end of day one, you might be dreaming of an orange holiday season rather than a white one. That is a lot of printers. And I love these shots because we get to see some really interesting stuff about the XL. Take a look at this top holder here. Rather than having a solid bearing mount like you would see in the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon, we've got a soft mount that is using a compliant mechanism for the actual lead screw for the bed itself. This allows the lead screw to wiggle around a little bit and not start to bind if there is a constraining issue. Let's say the bed runs into something and the lead screw needs to bend a little bit. These are generally hardened steel and they don't have an issue being put right back into place when the pressure is off of them. But having that little bit of vibration isolation and flexibility might actually result in considerably improved print quality. Looking at the printed parts as well, love the lighting effect. I really hope that we have that on the final units, and that's just not one for the actual marketing and media side of it, but, you know, of course, proper Gates belts, really nice linear slides, and unfortunately, I don't see if they are high wind. I want to believe they are, but high winds are very, very expensive. So what happens next? Well, you hit F5 on your email as many times until you get IP banned, and you hope that before you get that IP ban, you get a email from Prusa telling you to complete your order. At that point, you are in line, and you can choose to wait or complete the order immediately. If you are looking to just get your single tool head and get it done with now, pay for the darn thing, give them your shipping address, and send her on her way. If it is going to be a multi-tool head upgrade, you need to wait until the multi-tool head printers start shipping, and then you should have the opportunity to go ahead and update it. I'm guessing this is just a quick little on or off button that they get to turn on their eShop, so keep an eye out for that, because chances are there are ways to see when they update it before there might be a press release about it. So those of you that are looking to play that game as well. And unfortunately, you are not able to add printers to your order. You can only remove them. So if you got 2 pre-orders and now you only want 1, you can remove that one and that's okay, but you can't add any, which is a bit of a bummer, but that's a good thing because people that would be looking to abuse that system would thoroughly abuse it. And as they state, there is no deadline for converting the reservation into an order right now. The reservation date is decisive. As soon as you complete your payment, you will jump into the right place in the queue. So if you decide to wait for quite some time and then you place your order, you might actually be jumping up quite a bit in the queue because your order came due, you waited, maybe you had a financial thing or you needed to make some space for it or needed to somehow find a way to hide it from the significant other or somehow justify the purchase price to yourself, your accountant, your significant other. You have the time that you need to get all of those things in order before you go ahead and place that order so that when it does arrive, you are ready for it and it doesn't have to sit in a box for gosh knows how long so you can forget about your multi-$1,000 investment. There's a lot that has happened since the XL was first announced, mainly mainly being the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon and, to me, the Sovol SV06 and the SV06 Plus. The Elegoo Neptune series, the Pro Plus and Max, while I do like them, their lack of all-metal hot ends kind of remove them from this category, in my personal opinion. This launch needs to go pretty much bang on perfect for Prusa. They've done a lot of beta testing. They've been public about this beta testing, and they need to make sure that they kind of have their shit together. Because if there is even one mild speed bump on this launch, they're going to get a lot of criticism, and I'm not going to let them down easy. This is a lot of money, and when these printers do get shipped, if they do have issues, it will be a problem. And while there could be some lemons, not that I'm experienced in dealing with lemons, we hope that those are going to be few and far between. Looking at some of the FAQ for the machine itself, they are going to be coming with a 0.6 nozzle stock because with that large build volume, a 0.4 is just reasonably impractical. It's just way too much time. If you want to put on a smaller nozzle, get a multi-tool head and toss it on one of the other heads. That way you have one for really fine detail work, should you want it. And you could even load the same material into all of those and play around with different nozzle sizes to give you detail where you need it and speed where you don't. This will be something that I'm really curious to try out, and let me know in those comments if that is something you guys would want to see. The default option with the XL is going to be a satin sheet, which I have some of, but I've never used. So if you want to see my opinions on the satin sheets, let me know, and we're happy to do that as well. Unfortunately, there is no draft shield included. It will be an optional accessory, and there is no currently specified price. A lot of us have seen the bellows, which I do like, although not very pretty. They are incredibly practical, and I'm a little bummed that we don't have a price point on them or an ability to order it with the printer, because I believe a lot of us that are getting these machines don't have a lot of intention of printing just PLA and PETG on them. We want to print ABS, ASA, nylon, and all the fun things that are pretty terrible to print on an open air printer. With that being said, it's not a Cartesian printer. You're not going to get a lot of that convection that you normally would on a Cartesian printer because of the moving bed. Core XY, the head moves in the X and Y, and in this particular case, the bed moves in the Z. And the power supply configuration. I still don't know how I feel about this, and I would love to know what your thoughts are here as well. XL has 2 built-in power supplies by default for the single toolhead version. The 2 PSU configuration is enough to run up to 2 toolheads. If you want 3 or more, it is necessary to install an additional power supply due to power requirements. Does this mean I need 3 outlets for my machine? Because I sure hope not. Those of us that run print farms know the biggest problem that we have is we don't have enough damn plugs. And if that means I have to get an IEC that goes from 3 to 1, I will find it. Needing 3 plugs for this is just unrealistic, especially because in the United States, at least, your standard wall plate only has 2 plugs on it. We can see more about the Klipper and Pressure Advance and Input Shaper, that they are preparing and testing their own Klipper-inspired Input Shaper and Pressure Advance. This is our own implementation for the STM32 bare metal, not a direct port of Marlin. Klipper has a more precisely implemented Input Shaper and Pressure Advance, which I dig. They're acknowledging the fact that Klipper is really changing the game when it comes to Pressure Advance, as well as input shaping, where Marlin is falling behind a little bit. But that's okay. This is, again, what good development looks like. Companies that are effectively competing in an open source environment, which is really, really cool. And because they don't have the Pressure Advance and Input Shaping up and running, we don't have published speeds just yet. So that's still a bummer. I would love to know it. I know you would love to know it. Let me know what you guys think it's going to be able to run in the comments. I don't think we're going to get Voron or Bambu speeds out of it. However, neither of those machines are this big anyways. I know you can get a 2.4 that gets close to this size, but you are spending close to this money to get close to that size. So it is something to be aware of as well. And this is one that I didn't expect, but I kind of knew ahead of time regarding reviews. Are we as content creators going to get options to get machines earlier? The answer, no. We are not. Our production capacity is extremely limited at this point. We want to prioritize our customers, so review units will be available later along with the multi-tool version of the printer, which, hey, I'm hoping we can get a review unit because that'd be a lot of fun. We did pre-order one, don't get me wrong, and if I need to, I'd be happy to buy it, but if I don't have to, that'd be even better. And of course, we're gonna do a review. You know this. You expect this. There will be a live unboxing. So stay tuned, get subscribed, like, ring the bell, and all those things, because there is a lot of content coming out surrounding the XL as soon as these things start to ship. I am excited for the XL, but I am nervous. I really like Prusa, but they've got a lot to prove right now. While I still don't think it's fair to compare the Bamboo to the Mark III, I do think it might be reasonably fair to compare the Bamboo to the XL. Let me know what you guys think down in those comments below. I know there's going to be a lot of controversy surrounding these two machines specifically, and I don't know where I stand, because unfortunately Prusa doesn't have the best track record for doing product launches, but I think they're taking this one a lot more seriously, and quite frankly, I could not be happier about it. All these beta testers that we're starting to see pop out of the woodwork makes me incredibly happy to see that we are getting a product that is way more polished than we have ever been used to. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this one. Let me know your thoughts, of course, down in those comments below. And are you getting one? Did you have one? Did you cancel it? I'd love to know. That's really all I have for you all today. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Mic check 1 2, mic check 1 2. I got a cat sleeping next to me who's now looking at me a little bit pissed off. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and a massive thank you goes out to all of our Patreon, YouTube channel member supporters, and now PayPal, whose names are listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. Remember, if you do want to support this channel and the work that we do here, you can click those links in that description to join for as little as $1 a month to support these efforts, and, you know, allowing our editor, Andrew, to hopefully live a little bit more comfortably.
Please.
Right below me will be the entire Prusa XL video series, where you can see updates and my thoughts and opinions on all of these things about the XL. Right next to that will be the Bamboo series, because if we're gonna create controversy, let's just do it at the end of the video. I will see you guys down in those comments and in the next one. Take care.